I graduated from Memorial with a Bachelor of Science in Psychology. I'll soon be going to do my Master's in Business here at Memorial as well in the fall. Before we get started, there's just a couple of housekeeping items to mention. So the first thing is this session is being recorded. So if you are participating, you are also consenting to that. The second thing is your mics are muted and your video is turned off. This is just to help easily facilitate this session. But if you do have a question, put that in the chat. So that's the main reason why we are here. We really want to get all of the questions you have taken care of. Today's focus is the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science, so we want to keep our questions relevant to that. And if you do have any questions that we don't get around to answering, you can also email engr-liaison@mun.ca, and we'll get that posted in the chat as well, so you can copy and paste that to your email. So today we have a wonderful guest, Dr. Greg Naterer. Dr. Naterer is here to answer your questions relevant to engineering and applied science. And as new students and incoming students to Memorial, we hope there are plenty of questions. So drop them all in the chat feature and we'll answer them as we go along. So Dr. Naterer, it's nice to meet you. And can you briefly tell us a little bit about yourself and your role here at Memorial?
Thank you, Garrett, and good afternoon, everyone. As mentioned, I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science, and it's a pleasure for me to welcome you here this afternoon and to just say a few words about our faculty before we move to questions and answers. So I would like to just address the new students here on the line that have been accepted into engineering, and just to congratulate you all. You've been accepted into one of the finest engineering programs in the country, and we're very proud of the caliber and the quality of our programs. So I think you're going to have a great experience in our faculty, and again, just my congratulations to you. We have a proud history and a reputation of excellence in engineering that dates back to the 1930s when engineering courses were first offered at Memorial. And we've grown a lot since then. We have 6 undergraduate programs now. And one of the good features of our programs is that the first year is common. In other words, students don't yet select a discipline. They have an opportunity to get a sense of different areas of engineering, and then they can select their favorites when they start into their specific discipline in the second year. Another great aspect of our program is the co-op education. We are one of only a small number in Canada that offers a fully integrated co-op education in our engineering program. It provides rich, valuable experiential learning and experience in industry. So I think you're going to really enjoy that aspect of the program. We celebrate diversity in our faculty as one of our strengths, and we promote a supportive and inclusive environment of a range of students and different perspectives. We have students coming from many different countries, and we're proud of diversity that includes a significant proportion of women in engineering. So for 4 years in a row, in fact, Newfoundland and Labrador had the highest percentage of female undergraduate engineering students in Canada. So we're quite proud of that. We are in a global pandemic, as we all know, and we will have remote teaching and learning in the fall semester. But we are very committed to providing a rich, high-quality online learning experience as best as it possibly can be under the circumstances, with rich online content in our courses that are offered both asynchronous and synchronous, with a number of innovative learning modes that students are able to participate in. So we have virtual office hours and also lab experiences. And again, we're very confident that it's going to be a quality learning experience for you. So again, welcome, congratulations. And I think we have an opportunity for questions and answers at this point.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for telling us more about the Faculty of Engineering and Applied Science. There's definitely great opportunities. Also, the co-ops are very valuable as well. So we do have a student who's wondering how they should prepare for studies in the fall, especially given the climate that we're in now.
Okay, great question. I think there's a number of things that you can do to prepare. First is I suggest just getting rested and refreshed during the summer now to prepare for classes that will begin in September. I would suggest that you also review and become familiar with the technology requirements of our program. Make sure you have what is needed to participate in the coursework. That includes a PC or a Mac with a camera, high-speed internet access, and make sure it works because you're going to be using a lot of it during the fall semester. Take advantage of resources that the faculty and the university are offering, such as MUN 101 and engineering orientation. I would also suggest checking your MUN email regularly this summer, as well as once you begin as a student in the fall semester. After you register for courses and get your science safety courses complete, you should also sign up for an integrity course before classes begin. Further instructions are available by email that will be sent. I would also suggest preparing your study space at home, making sure it's a private and quiet space that's dedicated to your studies. Try to set it up so that you have a regular routine, a dedicated study space that you will enjoy, because you're going to be spending a lot of time there learning in the fall and beyond. Make sure that your background is ready to go in math, physics, and chemistry. Make sure that background is as strong as possible. Use any resources also that you can to do self-study of the material that you were supposed to cover in grade 12. If you're going into Math 1001 and skipping the first calculus course, for example, find out what's in the Math 1000 curriculum and assess your capability in that area. Also, I would suggest finding out social media sites for the Student Success Center, led by Adrian Dobra, a great staff member and resource that we have in our faculty. You'll really enjoy working with Adrian. And join also social media groups that are important communications throughout the term. Remember also, name Cheryl Keogh, another really dedicated and great staff member that we have in our faculty dedicated to your success as a student. She is a student liaison officer and an expert on planning your courses and getting you the help that you will need to succeed in first year.
Great information, and it is definitely important to have a dedicated study environment. But everything that you covered is very valuable for students to know, and Cheryl Keogh is also a go-to for us here in our office. So she's an amazing person for students to connect with as well. So how are you preparing for online learning in the fall? You had mentioned synchronous and asynchronous learning. So what can students know about that?
Yeah, I would say that our first year instructors are a team that work closely together, staying on top of the best practices in online instruction. As a faculty, we begin offering full online. We have already begun offering full online courses this summer. In fact, over 80 courses are running at this time, both undergraduate and graduate courses this summer. So we have a lot of experience, and the Student Success Center will be important for you as students to support your studies through the virtual tutorial meetings and other supports that they provide. So that's one way of preparing. And also, well, not only how you're preparing, but we're preparing as well as a faculty, which is what I was alluding to. First year faculty members will have course web pages also, and they're going to deliver a combination of live lectures and virtual office hours, as I mentioned earlier. Lectures are going to be recorded for later review, and this is important if for any reason you're not able to connect to the lectures synchronously, that the lectures will be available later. The university is also putting in place supports in case you're having any issues with regards to accessibility or internet access, and so those will be supports and lectures available online that you can review afterwards. I would also say that we have already developed online activities to replace some of the hands-on lab activities. So engineering is an applied discipline where lab activities are very important. So we still are going to provide those important lab experiences, in many cases through virtual, but in some cases, not in first year, but in upper years, an in-person on-campus lab experience. So those are some of the ways, Garrett, that I would say that we're preparing.
Perfect, thank you. I also just want to remind everyone who's tuning in to feel free to ask your questions in the chat feature. That's what we are here for. So ask all the questions that you have coming to mind. We do have a student also asking, can you tell us from where international students should register for their semester and how many minimum courses should they take?
So students who are international will be able to register for courses, and the number of courses that's required will vary from program to program. Cheryl will be an excellent resource there, as well as Adrian, as I mentioned earlier. But I know that travel is challenging at this time for international students. The provincial directives on this matter are evolving almost on a daily basis. So probably what we're saying now will even change in the weeks to come before the semester starts. But aside from the issue of actually traveling to St. John's, students internationally that we have in our programs will be able to register and participate in courses online, just like others who are here in the province. So we want to make sure that our student learning experience is as fair and equitable for all students as possible, as reasonably possible. So, and of course, that includes our international students.
Great, thank you. I'm sure there's many international students that are really appreciating all this information that you're giving them. We also have a student who's wondering, when do we register for the lab courses and can we complete them before starting our first semester?
Okay, so right now we currently don't have any in-person lab activities that requires you to come to campus for the first year. There are some labs in upper years that are in person on campus, but if you're not able to come to campus, to St. John's for whatever reason, including, again, you may be international or in other parts of Canada, there will be special arrangements made so that you will be able to complete those activities at some time prior to your graduation. So there is a news posting on this that was just issued yesterday by our communications advisor, Jackie Locke. It's on our engineering website. There are further details available. But again, the first year labs will be done virtually, so students don't have to worry about that issue of coming to campus to do lab activities in person.
All right, thank you. And we have another student who is also asking, what would be your advice for students who are not accepted directly from high school into Engineering 1, who now will start fall as a science student for winter semester?
Okay, Garrett, so I lost your volume a little bit there. I think I got it at the end, so maybe if you could just be closer to the mic. I'm wondering if one of my colleagues is on the line. Dr. Rideout or Dr. Peters, just in terms of students that go into science courses but that would like to transfer a bit later, I think is the point of this question. Or can I defer, or any of my colleagues would be willing to take this one?
Hi, Dr. Naterer. This is Cheryl.
Hi there.
So with the science program, students from the science program can apply into engineering in any semester. So if they're starting in the in science in the fall semester, in the winter or the spring, they can apply to engineering as a current student. And there are a bunch of courses in our first year that are not engineering specific. So they can access some of those courses in the fall. And those are the courses that would be used for their admission purposes into the winter or into the spring. So if the student wants to email me, I can lay out all that information for them.
All right, thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
Also, do you have any study tips for online learning?
Study tips for online learning. So what can I say there? I think that I mentioned a few of the points, finding a dedicated study space. I think setting a regular schedule aside, that you're dedicating time to your studies. I think engaging with other classmates online and through the resources that we have available. I would suggest reaching out to your instructor for virtual office hours if you're having difficulty during the course. I would recommend attending all of the classes that are being held online, especially, of course, if they're being done in a synchronous manner. And we recognize that, this is it can be challenging in this learning environment, but I'm confident that if you stay engaged, you stay connected as much as you can with the classmates, that we're here to support you and help you succeed in your program.
All right, thank you. Also, another student is asking, how can we know the exact classes to register for? Because some classes may clash in terms of time.
Okay, so the required courses that you are going to be taking in first year should have scheduling sorted out that you would be able to take each of the courses that you need. If for any reason you have a course where there is an asynchronous learning that's happening, in other words, a professor is posting materials that might clash with or require a time that is not structured, I would suggest reaching out to our office like Cheryl or Adrian to indicate that, because the current learning environment where both synchronous and asynchronous learning is happening at the same time is presenting some challenges if there is overlap. But of course, we're trying to minimize and avoid that from happening. If it does, again, reach out to the resources that I mentioned, but I think the courses that you are required to take in your first year, there should be sections or time slots that will allow you to take them all together, that won't overlap. If you have electives, though, in another faculty, that might present a unique challenge, and that may require you to perhaps take one of those courses in a future term. But I think in terms of meeting the requirements to progress in your program to go to the following academic semester, really we've done everything that we can to minimize or avoid any of those scheduling conflicts.
All right, great. And if students do have any questions, they can reach out to Cheryl just for some advice on what they should be doing. We also have a student asking if there are any mature students in the undergraduate engineering program.
I think so, yes. I don't know what the exact number would be, but there are students that take different career paths. Some may have completed a program of study somewhere else, or maybe even a college. They've gone to work and they've decided they want to come back for a university degree, or they've just taken some other paths in their lives that they come back and they're older. But we embrace students of all backgrounds and perspectives, and they actually really do enrich the learning experience in the classroom, because they bring different ideas, different perspectives. And so, yes, there will be mature students. It varies from program to program and year to year, but I think they're really a wonderful part of our student body.
All right. We do have another question as well from a student who lives 10 hours and 30 minutes ahead of Newfoundland time. So they're wondering if it's possible to record certain classes And if it's too late for them, is that allowed to record those classes? They've calculated that the time and some of the classes are around 2:30 or 3 a.m. their time.
Yes, we recognize that this is going to be an issue, especially because, we talked about international students before, and so students can be at anywhere else in the world. We have students from probably a dozen or more countries, and the class times will be scheduled and running in Newfoundland and Labrador time. But as I mentioned earlier, lectures will be recorded. So I would suggest this is something to follow up and discuss with your instructor, to have the lectures available online afterwards so that you would be able to view them. So yeah, I recognize that's a challenge when your local time is 2:30 a.m. in the morning when the class is going on in St. John's. But I think that's something that we recognize, and we'll work with you to make sure that you're able to make it work for you.
All right. And here, what are the exact courses required in the first year of study to be eligible for engineering?
Cheryl, are you on the line again? So this is a specific question with course numbers. This information is on the website. It's very readily available. If you would just do MUN Engineering first year, it would be the 4 engineering courses, the chemistry, physics, English, math, and Cheryl, I'm not sure if you wish to add more.
Nope, you're right. So there are 11 courses. It is on the website. There's the first year English, which everybody normally takes. There are 4 engineering specific, which you can access if you're accepted into engineering. But the science students would not be able to access them. They would take them after they got accepted into engineering. There's chemistry 1050, 2 levels of physics, and then 3 math. So math 1000, 1001, and 2050.
All right, thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome.
We have another question. How many credit hours do we need to get promoted into the next semester? And are you going to provide a link where we can register for courses? I'm sure we can get a link posted that links over to our self-service, but I guess the first question would be, how many credit hours do we need to get promoted into the next semester?
Cheryl, could I defer that one over to you?
Yes, of course. So there is not a particular amount. There are 11 courses in the first year that students have to complete. So as long as you have credit or transfer credit for all 11 of those courses before next spring, then you will promote in the second year. But there's not a number specific to promote from fall into the winter semester.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another question would be, during Engineering 1, are there sessions offered to help students choose a specialty?
I would say yes. So in the first year, normally it's in the second semester in the winter. Each of the departments offers 1 or more sessions that enable students in first year to be more familiar with their specific disciplines. So there are 6 programs or disciplines that the students can select after first year. And in no particular order, they are civil engineering, electrical, computer, mechanical, ocean and naval architectural engineering, and process engineering. And so students would select their favorites normally after the second semester of study. And there would be sessions that each of the departments offer to make students more familiar with, the details and the career opportunities and the nature of the courses that they would take in each. So that's normally in the winter semester.
Okay, thank you. So there are definitely resources for students to choose what specialty they want to pursue within engineering. Yeah. Another question we have is, from where can a Master's of Science students get overview of the syllabus?
Correction there, did you mean Master of Applied Science?
Yes, right.
Okay, so just to clarify, we have a couple of different master's programs. One is a Master of Engineering, which is a research-based program. The other is Master of Applied Science, which is a course-based program. and they are different. So the question was presumably Master of Applied Science. There are several programs that we have there in environmental engineering, oil and gas engineering, energy systems engineering, and computer engineering. And the courses in each of those programs would be available on the website. Again, normally there's somewhere between 8 and 11 courses that can be completed between 1 to 2 years. There are variations among each of these programs, but I believe that that's covered the overall idea. More detailed descriptions are available on the website.
All right, thank you. We have another question as well. So if you have been credited some courses and they are involved in the academic term 3 promotion, are these courses included in the average considered for the promotion or the average based on the remaining courses? I don't know if that's a Cheryl question or...
Yeah, I think that what I could say is that the first year courses are considered in the average for promotion to term 3. If you have courses beyond year 1 that you may have taken in first year, I don't think they're considered, but that is a question I would defer also to Cheryl.
So anything that's transferred in shows in your transcript as a TR, which doesn't carry a number grade. So if you're talking about promoting out of term 3 into term 4, those courses would not be used in term 3 for your promotion average. Only what you've taken at Memorial would be counted.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we have time for a couple more questions. So the next question we have is, hi, you mentioned Math 1000 and 2 other math courses, Chemistry 1050 and Physics 1050 and Physics 1051. So students who want to transfer to engineering in their next year, are we to complete all those courses to be eligible?
I think the short answer is yes, but if I'm incorrect in that, Cheryl, I would.
Yeah, so it really depends on when the student is applying to get into Engineering 1. If they are going to complete those courses over the fall and the winter, then yes, they could complete them all, but they can complete some of them in the fall semester and apply into the winter semester. So they have to have at least 2 of the 7 with averages of 70% or better in those 2 courses and averages or semester averages of at least 70%.
All right. So seeing if anyone else has any final questions here before we wrap this up. But otherwise, thank you both, Dr. Naterer and Cheryl, for joining us here today. We'd also like to mention that there is a, I believe, an upcoming event for Engineering 1 orientation. So it's now live on Brightspace. So if engineering students do not see it in their course list in Brightspace, they can reach out to Cheryl to join that. And also for any final questions, if we didn't get around to answering your questions here today, you can also email the email which was listed at the beginning, and maybe we can get it posted in the chats again, but it's engr-liaison@mun.ca. So thank you everybody for being here with us today, and also stay tuned every Wednesday and Friday at 2 p.m. Newfoundland time for our future Ask Here sessions. And thank you, Dr. Naterer and Cheryl, once again.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, Garrett.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.